and welcome back everyone to the video series dedication show on MTV that is now a house divided. And I mean that literally. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge Season 38, Episode 9. We have hit the halfway point officially, but there is a lot to go over in this episode. They just throw a ton of stuff at us. So let's start off where last episode left off, and that was Olivia and Horacio winning in the elimination against Jay and Michelle, coming back to the challenge house. And Olivia and Nelson instantly make up with each other. She ultimately says that this was a smart move for him with saving Fessel, saving face, while also Olivia and Horacio get to come back into this game. Speaking of Fessel, we see him have a conversation with Nelson, being appreciative of Nelson saving him down in the zone floor and not seeing an elimination last episode. However, Fessel is feeling inadequate with himself because he feels at this point he could have been a 2 to 3 time challenge champ, but now he's a 2 to 3 time challenge loser, which are his words, but I'm happy to say it as well. He gets very emotional. He has to get a pep talk from Mariah. This kicks off a trend in this episode where we see all the teams kind of having a moment with each other, talking about the game, talking about where they sit in this game. The next morning, we see Bananas and Nani talking to each other, and they share a laugh about how they're kind of sitting in easy street. They haven't even seen one elimination. Yes, they've been nominated, but they haven't even seen an elimination. We see Olivia and Horacio kicking around a soccer ball, bonding, having some team bonding there. Then we see Kenny and Casey get some screen time. Everybody sound the alarm. This is not a drill. That's right. Kenny and Casey got screen time, so you know something big is going to happen. Talk about something big. We see Jordan and Tori wrestling with each other. Not like that, get your head out of the gutter. But we do see Jordan and Tori kind of wrestling around with each other, and we get to hear a little bit of their own thoughts about the other person and maybe where this new friendship and relationship kind of looks like to each other. Tori is feeling like there's still some feelings there, that maybe things are up in the air. Jordan, however, is very closed off. He likes that they are getting along with each other. He still has love for Tori. However, he's closed off. And ultimately, he's been getting closer with Nerys in this game, talking to her, cuddling with her, making out with her. We even see them making out at one point in this episode. He goes directly to Nerys' bed at night, and they kind of get lovey-dovey on each other. Now, Nerys does talk to Olivia at one point, talking about her concerns about getting closer with Jordan in the challenge house with Tori in the house. Nerys loves talking to Jordan, loves getting closer to Jordan. However, Tori's in the house and it kind of gets a little awkward and maybe pursuing somebody when their ex-fiance is in the house. And Olivia's like, girl, you do you. Take your shot. You don't owe Tori nothing. You're not even friends with her, so don't even worry about her. Worry about you and Jordan, which we will see how that all transpires later on in this episode. But for now, all the contestants get on their challenge gear, meet up with TJ for this week's daily challenge, which is a mini final, one of my favorite daily challenges of any season because it tests you in so many different ways and it gives us, the audience, a good look of how possibly the challenge competitors could do in a final type setting. This week's daily challenge is called All or Nothing, where all the teams are going to have to traverse this 6-mile path, doing various checkpoints along the way, while all the while carrying a wooden stretcher. The team that can complete all the checkpoints and cross the finish line first wins. And not only wins, this is a win that is major. TJ said at the last elimination that there is a twist and power on the line in this game, and it's going to shake the game. So this is the most important daily challenge of the season thus far. So everybody lines up, grabs their wooden stretchers, and TJ blows the horn, and everybody is off. Of course, Nelson and Nerys are up at the very front. They are incredible with their speed and stamina. Fessel and Mariah are right next to them, and all the way in the back is Jordan and Anissa. But do not fret, as Anissa tells us in the confessional that yes, they may be slow in the run, but just wait till we get to the checkpoints where we'll make up some time and pass some teams. We'll believe it when we see it. Everybody gets to the first checkpoint roughly around the same time, and the first checkpoint is like the floor is lava. Teams are going to have to make it from one side of the field to the other without ever touching the field, and they're going to have to use 3 barrels and their stretcher to make it across the field. Everybody pretty much has the same strategy for this daily challenge. Use the barrels, stack tall ways, walk across the barrels and your stretcher while moving the back barrel to the front every single time. Everybody's using this strategy except for Bananas and Nani, the most experienced team in this game left. And what they are trying to do is like barrel roll their way across this field like they're playing Donkey Kong Country or something. It does not work. They ultimately yell at each other, they mess up, they have to start over. However, they do not end this checkpoint last. That goes to Jordan and Nisa, who also mess up further down the line, and they have to start all the way over, and teams are just running out of this checkpoint, leaving them in the dust. Nelson and Nerys get a good head start, finishing this checkpoint first. Then it's Fessel and Mariah, then Devin and Tori. Once teams finish this first checkpoint, they have to grab 4 sandbags, put it on their gurney, and then pick it up and run to the second checkpoint. Not much happens between the first checkpoint and the second checkpoint run, except for we start to see the team of Horacio and Olivia start to form cracks. Horacio is not liking that Olivia is not pushing herself to go faster, pushing herself past her limit, and at one point says he sees red. He starts to shut down. He is not communicating well, which Olivia likes a straightforward communicator, being loud and proud, but Horacio is a lot more quiet in his leadership, and he starts to shut down, which is not good for their team communication. Moving on to the second checkpoint, teams are going to have to pull their sled with their 4 puzzle pieces across the field and then use those 4 puzzle pieces to stack a tower with every side of the tower having all different symbols. You can't duplicate symbols on one side or it is wrong. Now, what teams can do with their sandbags is sabotage other teams by putting them in their sleds to make it that much harder to pull across the field. Nelson and Nerys, again, in first place, don't have any sandbags on their sled. They can pull their sled easily across the field. The same with Fessel and Mariah. However, Nelson and Nerys kind of struggle with this puzzle a little bit, and Fessel and Mariah get this in 5 seconds flat. They get this puzzle, knock over the pieces, grab their gurney, and are headed off to the next checkpoint. And Nelson and Nerys kind of fumble with it a little bit. Devin and Tori leave the checkpoint second. Nelson and Nerys leave the checkpoint third. And everybody starts to leave the checkpoint. That is except for Bananas and Nani, who do not seem to worry about losing this challenge, not even finishing up this portion of the daily challenge, of this mini final. Bananas like hops in the sled, is just chilling out. They're laughing about giving each other a break from the puzzle. They're just joking around, just having a good old time, not worried about this big old power or anything. Now, before getting to the third checkpoint, teams get to these pile of tires with city names on them. You're gonna have to transport all 6 of your tires to the third checkpoint and then use them to finish up the third and final checkpoint. Fessel and Mariah are there first. They have a huge lead. Then Nelson and Nerys show up. Devin and Tori. Teams are starting to show up, pick up their tires. But ultimately, it does not matter as Fessel and Mariah crush this daily challenge. They get all their tires to the third checkpoint before anybody. They read the rules where it says that all the tires have to go over the crate wall. Then you have to use the tires, stacking them from the southernmost city all the way up to the northernmost city. Once you get that right, grab your gurney, run to the finish line. Luckily, Fessel has DM'd girls from all over the world that he knows exactly what the southernmost city is all the way up to the northernmost city is, and is able to easily figure out this puzzle. Fessel and Mariah cross the finish line first, winning this very important power, winning this very important daily challenge. Now, after they cross the finish line, TJ is telling everybody, it's over, just grab everybody, bring them in, I have to tell everybody what the twist is. That is when everybody can drop their gurneys, and that's when Horacio drops his gurney and just keeps on walking. He leaves Olivia in the dust, and Olivia gets consoled by Amber, who is very close in proximity to them. Olivia is feeling like she is alone in this game with the way Horacio kind of shut down and just kind of walked away from her. TJ then tells everybody that pairs are done with. We are going to a 2-team game where Fessel and Mariah are the team captains. It's a season 27 Battle of the Bloodlines twist. So coming back to the challenge house, Fessel and Nelson are talking about what strategy should Fessel use going into this team picking twist. And Fessel is thinking of how he can get the best team he can, and he doesn't care if he screws up his ride or die. This is how the game is set up. This is how it's supposed to be played. Thanks for getting me to this point, but whatever, who cares? See ya. Sorry, not sorry. However, Mariah is thinking that, look, we came into the game together. We can do this thing where we can make even teams. We could just have the best teams battling it out week after week. What do you say? And Fessel pretty much shuts that down. We'll wait to get to the deliberation because we need to go to the bar scene. And there are some awkward vibes and weird feelings that are happening within this bar scene as pairings now know that they're going to be split up, has to deal with the fact that they're no longer working along with each other. Now they have to face off and go against people that they love and care for. This is especially awkward for Amber and Chauncey, who seem to be very much outcasts in the game already, and now they're going to be split up from each other. So now the only two people that they could really look out for each other, they can't even look out for themselves. So it's a little awkward there. Horacio apologizes to Olivia, feels bad that they're splitting up from each other, and that was the last challenge that they were going to do, and it's a bad taste. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth if that's the last time you're going to be working with each other in this game. So he apologizes to Olivia. They seem to smooth things out. We go back to the challenge house while Nelson is cooking quesadillas for everybody. And somebody who is sharing in, I don't know if they're sharing quesadillas, but they're sharing a very close space with each other. And that is Nerys and Jordan. Now, someone from across the room who does not appreciate seeing how close Nerys and Jordan are getting is Tori, and she has to get up and leave because she is feeling very uncomfortable seeing them get very, very close. So she leaves the room, goes to hang out with Devin, and kind of vent to him about the feelings that she is feeling when seeing all that happening. Amber comes out to console Tori, kind of give her an update. She feels sorry that she had to see Nerys and Jordan get very close with each other. And Devin is very worried about Tori, not just in this game, but like moving forward outside of this game too. If Devin and Tori are as close as they say in the confessionals, he knows just how difficult it was for Tori to get over Jordan and the breakup that they went through and all the stuff that she had to go through. And I just feel like it's super genuine when Devin says that he is worried for Tori and what this is going to do, because this is, like he said, very triggering, and it's opening up old wounds to the point where Tori did so much to get into a good mental headspace for this to all come back at her and kind of re-aggravate and kind of maybe put her back into a bad mental space that she was just getting past. You know, it's not a good look. It's not really good. And we move on to the next morning where we see Bananas talking to Mariah about the strategy in picking teams. And Mariah is still under the impression that Fessel will look out for her despite now being on separate teams. That he wouldn't try to screw me over, right? Bananas knows Fessel more so in this game. I don't know how long Mariah has known Fessel, but it's totally different when you have that competitor in the house. You can play Monopoly with somebody, but in the challenge for $1 million, it's a totally different beast. And so going to the deliberation, this is where we see Fessel and his intent on getting the best team come hell or high water. And we see Fessel make the first move saying that he wants to take Casey on his team, which would leave Kenny going to Mariah's team. Mariah then says, I'll counter that. I'll take Jordan and you take Anissa. I think it's pretty split on that kind of picking right here. That's when Fessel says he wants Bananas, sending Nany to Mariah's team. Mariah instantly puts up a fight saying, no, I really want Bananas for obvious reasons. They're making out, they're getting very close with each other, but Bananas is also very experienced. He's a really great player, 7-time champ, but Fessel doesn't want to hear it. You got Jordan, I can take Bananas, and I'll also take Nelson, my best friend, and you get Nerys. Mariah, instant alarm bells. What are you talking about? You're trying to sandbag my team. You're trying to get a big team to bulldoze my team and just leave me decimated. And Mariah even says, I don't know if I can trust you at this point. Now seeing Fessel's true colors. Fessel then goes, I brought you into this game. Oh, thank you so much for bringing me into this game. I should just bow down to your will, master. Yes, I should just give you everything that you want just because I'm somebody that you brought into this game. I'm sorry, I thought I was helping you in this game as well. Who helped get you through that last mini final? My goodness, I couldn't believe that. I really couldn't believe that when he said, I brought you into this game, as if that's supposed to be like, you're supposed to just do whatever I want, bow down to my will, bend to my will. I was like, excuse me. We wake up the next morning, and this is where we see the conversation between Jordan and Tori. Jordan basically denies that anything is happening between him and Nerys, and Tori is like, what am I, a fool? Of course something is happening between you two. You guys are cuddling, getting very close. Other people are telling me about it. What are you trying to pull on me? And Jordan brings up that, oh, is it really that hard to see your ex and ex-fiance hooking up with somebody right in front of your face? It kind of got the vibes of like, oh, now you know how I felt when you were hooking up with Fessel down in Turks and Caicos and trying to like put it back on Tori, which Tori then is like, I thought we got past this. We talked about it. You were then in my bed. We could have talked about it before you got into my bed. They got really, really close with each other. They've kissed. They've seen each other's gadgets and doodads on the season. And this is where we get that lines were crossed without knowing the intentions. Feelings have been reevaluated and reopened, and wounds have now been reopened to where now hurt people are hurting people. Jordan even says that I'm still hurt. There's still big hurt in me. He even says that they've said to each other that they love each other, which is, oh my gosh. Jordan then says in the confessional that this is now the Tori show. This is all about Tori, not about him. I'm the big bad Jordan. I've done it all, and it's all my fault. And then says that this is deja vu to the last few months of their relationship. And this is pretty much a sign that they should not get back together again, because it's not going to turn out well. They ultimately leave the conversation saying that this is now a business relationship. This is business acquaintances. We're just going to try to look out for each other in this game, but it's going to be nothing more. And they walk and say that they're going to head out to the opposite sides of the house. I feel like I'm going to have a lot more to say about this in tomorrow's Tiny Table Talk, but we're going to put a pin in this because now we have to go meet up with TJ in the zone for the team picking exercise, where it's Fessel versus Mariah, and TJ calls everybody out to join him on the zone floor for the picking to commence. Before we can get anybody to pick, we have to figure out who's going to pick first. And so TJ flips the coin, and Fessy gets the coin toss. So he gets first overall pick. And of course, he picks Casey. That sends Kenny over to Mariah's team, and now it's Mariah's pick, and she picks Jordan, thankfully, which then sends Anissa over to Fessel's team. Fessel then picks Bananas. Now, Fessel is feeling good about this pick because it's more of a defensive pick. One, he gets a good player in Bananas, but also to help him is that it's defending Mariah from having Bananas as well. So it's more of a defensive pick. Now, Nany goes over to Mariah's team. Now, Mariah gets to pick anybody that she wants that's left, and she chooses Amber, which is not a bad pick. I like Amber. I think she is a good competitor. I think she could have waited to pick Amber because Amber/Chauncey is not high on Fessel's list of picking. I think what Mariah could have done was do a defensive pick like Fessel did with Bananas and pick Nelson. Now, out of who I would want to be paired up with in a challenge between Nelson and Nerys, I think I would pick Nerys, who has shown that she has similar speed, stamina, endurance, but has better puzzle-solving abilities. But looking at Mariah's team, she probably could have used the muscle, and there was a lot more brains on the zone floor, which sounds way nastier than I meant it to be. I just meant that there's still a lot of brainiacs that could help in puzzles and puzzle dailies on the zone floor that she could have opted for muscle instead of opting for more brains. But it ultimately leads to Mariah getting Amber, Fessel getting Chauncey. That's when Fessel gets Nelson as well, and Mariah gets Nerys. Now, at this point, it's decided. Mariah needs Horacio and Devin, and Olivia and Tori would have to go on Fessel's team, but they go through the picks. Mariah picks Horacio, Olivia goes to Fessel's team, leaving Devin and Tori as the final two people left on the zone floor. Two people that have brains. Tori also has some brawn to her. Devin has worked on his stamina. And mind you, these are two competitors that just were in last season's finals running and possibly going to win. Tori more so than Devin, but you know what I mean. Those are two pretty strong competitors as the last picks. Tori goes to Fessel's team, Devin goes to Mariah's team, and when looking at these teams, to me, it is very much brain versus brawn, where Mariah has more of the brainiacs and Fessel has more of the brawn on his side, and Fessel is feeling really good about his team, whereas some people on Mariah's team are a little bit nervous about how they could stack up alongside Fessel's team. But is brawn all that you need to win dailies over and over and over again? We're going to have to wait and see how this is going to fare out moving forward in the rest of the season, in the rest of the half of this season. I'm going to get more into these teams, the picks, what could have and should have been done, or the wrong moves, or how these teams stack up with each other in tomorrow's Tiny Table Talk, as well as going through Tori and Jordan and all that other stuff in tomorrow's Tiny Table Talk. But that is it for this week's video. What'd you think about this episode? Let me know down in the comment section below. What'd you think about the mini final? What'd you think about the twist? Are you happy about this twist? Are you nervous about this twist? Do you not like the twist at all? Let me know anything and everything down in the comment section below. And what do you think about these two teams? I think this twist is interesting. We have seen it before. I'm just cautiously optimistic about this because I was already enjoying the season, very much so. And now this whole switch up happens, and now I'm going to be cautiously optimistic. We've seen this twist happen before. It didn't work out or was executed well in the season that it was introduced. I'm hoping it fares better this season because this season had a lot of momentum, a lot of good vibes, and now I'm just going to be a little bit nervous, but I'm optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic. But what about you? Let me know down in the comment section below. I want to hear anything and everything you have to say about this episode, about the teams, about the daily challenge, everything. No elimination this week, but that is it. I want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to everyone who is watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really, really soon with more Challenge 38 content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.